Anti-Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet, and today we are checking out some more solo leveling. Y'all, this series is, I'm binging my way through it for filming, but I feel like I might have needed to have been watching it when it came out so that I could have had a week in between episodes, because it's intense. And I know that because I've read through part of the manga, but I forgot just how much Jinwoo gets completely like beat up. It just doesn't even seem like a strong enough word. He gets really mangled throughout the majority of the beginning of this series. There's something else about it when it's in animation and I can't just scroll past it at my own speed. I have to sit with it with the time that they've taken to animate it. And I get, because those are like the action scenes, that they're gonna take some time with those because it adds to the anime aspect of it. But it is intense. But we're getting closer and closer to Taeshik, and there's a little part of my brain that's, what if we don't do Taeshik, which is ridiculous because the encounter with him is so important to Jinwoo's abilities and power set. So of course we're gonna do him, but I'm just like, I have so much anticipation that I'm just worried that I'll be disappointed, even though I know that's ridiculous. But at the same time, I'm just like, what if it doesn't happen? But as we get closer and closer, I'm just like more excited to get to see him and his abilities and what it's gonna be like seeing them in animation. But with that, let's just get into this episode, and hopefully Jinwoo gets a little bit of a break. The whole S-rank dungeon was not kind to him, but let's hope that he gets at least a little bit of a breather after that, even though I know better. In 3, 2, 1, go. I think it's pretty pointed that we're starting at the hospital after I was like, hopefully he gets a break. I know it's not for like him being in the hospital, but still. Yep. The way his eyes change there. I also loved that in that shot he was like partly in shadow and then his mom was in the light. Great use of lighting there, especially considering how Jinwoo is like losing more and more of himself as he's committing to this leveling up, right? Like, again, the desperation that fuels him. It's not just survival, it's not just I need to not be weak, it's also I need to get this elixir of life to help my mom. Like, there's so many layers of kind of instinct and desperation that are leading him to sacrifice parts of his morality and parts of his humanity in a lot of ways too. We've set up a lot of stuff though that's gonna be, I don't think we're gonna get to. You know, as I get closer and closer to the end of what has been adapted already, I'm like, we're not gonna get to that part. Like this, so the Red Knight, we're showing it. I'm like, we're not gonna get there. Not in like, what, 4 episodes? Set up a lot of other stuff with like the guilds too. He's so excited. It's adorable. See, desperation. He's like, I want to do it on my own to enter, but they don't need to like actually be part of it. Oh, it's definitely risky, but sometimes you gotta take risks, I guess. It's true. I don't like how it's a little bit manipulative though, because Jinho is my boy. He's my sweetie pie. For real though, how do people enjoy running? I guess people don't enjoy like the running part. They enjoy that having ran part. I am not one of those people. I tried it, not my thing. Sure. Is this the father that we need to impress? Sure. And do you want to privately own some of those resources? Sure. I mean, I'm all for breaking down monopolies, but I feel like there's more sinister undertones to why we're particularly interested in this venture. We have a lot of focus on Jinho's hands. Is that just to show the emotion, or is there going to be something there? Is it symbolic, like having something, you know, wanting something in the palm of his hand, or like having everything almost within reach and yet still out of reach? Hey, if you're gonna play loot boxes, you're gonna have to deal with getting a lot of crap before you find what you actually want. I mean, it'd be experience and a paycheck. Oh, I love the him being stopped at a crossing and him talking about how it's frustrating that he can't level up as fast as he wants to. Good symbolism there. Hello again. Probably thought about it. That's quite noble. After seeing a lot of people less noble in the hunting game. Speaking of. I don't like they were spending all this time of you telling me about his family. I understand why he wanted to survive so bad. I just don't like that he took the coward's way out. Don't make me feel bad. I can hold a grudge. I mean, being self-aware is important. I feel like it wasn't just about this. Yep. Never trust a bespectacled person in anime. Oh, she's going through it. I feel like that's like kind of like why she snapped though, is because I think that she's already insecure about the idea that she's in the way. So having like someone else say that is just gonna make her feel like there's more truth to it. You actually gonna tell her about it, or are we just gonna? Oh, I guess it was all a cover up for what they were actually there to talk about, which we were not told about yet. Is that the island we saw at the beginning of the first episode? This is more emotional than we've seen from him so far. Oh, did we have a friend? Protege? Setting up some things. Oh, you should talk to her more. I mean, it kind of is now. At least that's what he expects it to be like. Me cute. He's been through a lot. Sure, yeah. That's definitely it. It is nice to see them together again, though. Like someone who was like legitimately nice to Jinu before everything happened, like when he was the weakest. Yep, someone gathering you together. It does seem like maybe too much of a coincidence. Here it comes. I mean, these guys are really a piece of work, but like, not the worst encounter. Is that our boy? The man, the myth, the legend. I know we saw him briefly earlier, but oh yeah, this whole thing is a mess. This is when things get really messy. I don't think they do know. I don't think they fully comprehend what will happen to them. Definitely don't relax. Oh, they all feel so in debt to him. Because, I mean, they did sacrifice him. They did legitimately leave him on an altar. Taking notes. But he's so, like, chill and composed at this part. I'm, like, thinking of how this is all going to evolve. Things are about to get a little bit messy. We're finally getting to the story. I've been waiting this whole season, all these episodes. I've been waiting for this moment for us to be getting to the storyline with the convicts and Taeshik. It's such a messy storyline in terms of there's a bunch of stuff happening that's chaotic and people betraying each other, and it becomes so much so quickly. Everything escalates that it can be like a little bit overwhelming, but it's also like my favorite part of the series that I've read up to this point is this one. There's just something about Taeshik's character and the way that he acts is this parallel to Jinwoo, and just like the power scaling of it. And I think also the idea of using criminals as a way of going through dungeons because there's an expendability to them, and also forces bringing all of the survivors of the double dungeon together to do this dungeon, and the way that it pushes Jinwoo's abilities and like how he uses his abilities into like upcoming stories. Like there's so many elements of it that I adore, and I think the fact that there is so many people out for their own interests and have their own plans, and things go awry because you have all these people vying for their own reasons. And again, what happens in a dungeon stays in the dungeon. There aren't any laws enforced once you step into that dungeon. And to have that kind of lawlessness paralleled with these core three people, with Sung, Jinwoo, and Juhi, who are bonded by not only having a good camaraderie before all of the trauma, but then having gone through the double dungeon and stuck it out together as long as they could, and having this faith in each other, paralleling that bond that they have with all of this lawlessness is just a really interesting dynamic. Because Jinwoo has been spending a lot of time so far trying to work on his own, him saying, oh, I can't defeat this whole dungeon on my own. That's a bummer. I want to be doing all of this solo, as the name implies, of the series. And then putting him in contact with these people who he does legitimately trust and have a certain camaraderie with, and him realizing that he doesn't have to. And I think it just grounds him again in that humanity, in contrast to these moments where a lot of his abilities or his leveling up is stripping him of a lot of that. Just getting into what I've been waiting the whole time. I've been waiting for us to get to this story, and I'm just so excited. But I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click this place to go to my previous reactions, or you can subscribe to miss next time I post a solo leveling reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.